So, I suppose it's time to do some more Saab, but not this one. Hello. It's another 5-door turbo, but it's white and from Australia. Just arrived, and it's mine. So, yes, I have two of the things. And being from Australia, it's not rotten in the slightest. I mean, it's got a couple of little bits, but I mean, compared to my lovely one there as well, it's positively showroom. But yes, it arrived, I think, yesterday, and I was literally bouncing too much to make the video. But yeah, there it is. Hasn't run for about 15 years, so we'll get that going. And it's got just various sort of, it's just never been restored, it's just got wear and tear. So bits of crispiness is we've got a bit under the scuttle there, which isn't too nice. The other side is slightly worse. The interior is sun faded, but it's all there. Very green. And it's, yeah, typical saggy headlining, but we can do that. In fact, I'm quite looking forward to that, because I enjoy doing headlining and things. Oh, a little bit of grot there. The things, all this sort of stuff is actually quite simple to deal with. Yes, the back seat is faded considerably. But yeah, we'll work with that. So the tailgate is the wrong colour, so we've got to spray that at some point. The exhaust is huge, so we need to tear that off and put a more toned down one on. Put a more toned down exhaust on. But no, it's all there. Oh, a bit of grot on this door, which is why the trims have been removed. But this is just picking. And it has, as well, most of it's been removed now, but I intend to reinstall it. AC. $186,000 kilometres, because it's in kilometres being Australian. And it is just beautiful. Love this green interior. And the engine's all there. It's even got the correct proper turbo on it. Because a lot of people tend to put the early 900 turbo on, with the different wastegate. And the battery's still under the bonnet too. So yeah, let's chuck a battery in it and see if it starts. So obviously I'm not going to literally chuck a battery on it and turn it over and start it. There's loads of other things you've got to do, not just for an engine that's been stood for 15 years, but to these engines specifically, Saab people will know this, is the water pump. So the water pump is driven by a jack shaft from it's driven by a jack shaft which comes off via the timing chain, and that also drives the distributor and the oil pump, I think. But the water pump is the crucial one, because of course that's been sat, and of course with water in it. Thankfully it's still full of coolant, so it hasn't leaked out anywhere. But that can seize, of course. And of course, you try and turn the engine over. They're quite fine teeth on the jack shaft from the water pump, And yeah, generally, if the water pump is seized, these teeth will shear off and the car will overheat all the time, and you can't get those jack shafts anymore. They are like hen's teeth, like most of the parts for these cars now. So the most sensible thing to do is, it probably isn't seized, but it's just ridiculous not having a check. So we're going to take the inlet manifold off and the alternator, drain the coolant, and then we'll attempt to get this alloy water pump housing off, which can often be quite fun because this aluminium alloy sitting against cast iron, of course they corrode and seize and all sorts of things. But my red one, I got the water pump housing off of that, and that came off really easily, which everyone thinks I'm lying when I say that, who I tell, but it's quite remarkable. So let's crack on with dismantling things. Oh, and another reason it won't start is we've got that fuel line's broken off completely, and this one, well, it was split, but now I've broken it. There we go. So I need to order a new set of those. I'll take you round. I've also already, because I was too excited, whipped the fuel pump out of the fuel tank. I mean, it's back in now to stop fuel smells. And we have an issue there. Is that going to hit the Passat? Not if I hold it like that. So the fuel pump's into the tank, it's Cagetronic, and that is the fuel pickup. That used to be a rubber bellows, but it is now just mush. They're not available for Saab 99 specifically, but I'm going to see if I can make an early 900 one fit. So that's another thing we need to do. God, it stinks of horrible fuel. I think the last time this had fuel in it was in about 2005 in Australia. So I'll bring you a bit closer. We've got the water pump there, behind there. We've got these broken fuel lines. So drain the coolant system. Well, get the manifold, and alternator and bits like that. So let's start disconnecting things. so that's all the bits off. So manifold and whatnot. Pipes off. So now the slightly scary bit. Oh, what's that bracket down there, which I'm going to have to remove? Oh, of course, alternator bracket. Yes, if I remove that, and these 3 bolts, and then see if the water pump housing comes off. I think a rubber mallet will be involved. Oh. Ooh. Phew. So I'm having to do a voiceover on this one because I left the radio on quite loud whilst it was playing a song, and I don't want to get held up for copyright, so this is probably the only way to do it. So the water pump housing came off really well, which is surprising considering, as I mentioned earlier, the whole alley cast iron thing. But yeah, gave the water pump a twist, and it was initially stuck, but then, yeah, with a good sort of tug with my, sort of twisting it with my hand, it freed off itself. Probably wouldn't have shared any teeth, but it was worth the exercise anyway. So now, after this, I popped the car into fourth and moved it back and forwards, moved the whole car back and forwards by hand, so it's turned the engine over. And yeah, it's turning the water pump over fine. So that's that concern out of the water now, which is fantastic. Right, so we're on the ramp now. We know the water pump isn't seized, which is good. I left it overnight and nothing came out of the weep hole. So I'm not going to bother disturbing the seals yet. So we'll leave that for now. I'm waiting for some parts to come, no gaskets and whatnot. So now I've just drained the fuel tank and I'm just taking it out. So let's carry on doing that. All the pipes are disconnected. It stinks. I got about 10 litres of stale fuel out, which isn't horrendous. So yeah, let's do that. Right, so the tank is cleaned out. Basically I steamed it out, shook it, and just basically kept filling and draining it with water, and I got all the rust out eventually. I left it for a few days, and yeah, it's, can't really, no, you can't see in there. And hoovered all the rest of the rust out. So now time to put the bloody thing back in. Well, the tank is in. I just need to wait for some bits to arrive before I can do the top connecting. But for now, I've just replaced the oil filter and drained the oil. No water came out the sump, so that's good. Unlike the red one. Hello. So now, fill it with oil obviously, and whip the spark plugs out and check the gaps, clean them. Actually, I might have some new spark plugs. Oh, yeah, I'll get some new spark plugs. Why not? And do that. Not far away now. Right. So the fuel pump bellows arrived, and it's from a 900, and it fits perfectly. I still need to replace this rubber seal here because that's awful, and I'll just put fuel and fuel smells into the boot, but I want to get it running for now, so I'll replace that, well, once I got it running, because I still need to order it up. I think just a big bit of fuel pipe should do the trick. The Vaseline's there so I could lubricate all the fuel things as they go on. Really good tip, by the way, use old Vaseline. Fitting fuel fittings, stiff new radiator hoses, yeah, slip on lovely. And yeah, but first I want to put, before I put any fuel in it at all, I want to finish what I'm doing, take all the spark plugs out, put oil in it and wind it over to get oil pressure. Got a new battery, so we'll do that now. Oh, you check none of the fuel pump wires are touching. Of course it's all hanging out at the moment. Oh no, they're all insulated as well, so that's nice. Right, let's crank her over and watch the oil pressure light. Unfortunately I don't have an assistant to check if there's oil peeing out, but we'll take that risk. Out of gear. Here we go. So it goes out immediately, but I'll just listen to the sound. That's the sound of oil pressure. And the light's still out. So it should come on. There we go. Cool.